Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contracts. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan. $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible. Financial geniuses. Monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Hey, good morning. It is Friday, September 12th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Sunshine today, high 77. And then the weekend's going to be nice. Saturday, sun and clouds, high 79. Sunday, mostly sunny, high 81. If you're walking out the door with us right now, 62 and clear in Yonkers up in Westchester County, 56 and clear in Hamilton over in New Jersey, and it's 60 and clear right outside our Midtown studios.
The top 5 at 5.
The search continues for the gunman who assassinated Charlie Kirk. The MTA warning LIRR riders it'll be really bad if railroad workers, we'll get that right, walk off the job. Nadine Menendez says her senator husband set her up. There was a violent fight over a parking spot in Brooklyn. And what's that stink in the air in Greenpoint, Brooklyn? All right, let's get into it at 5:02. The MTA seems to think maybe the strike on the LIRR going to happen. They put out this contingency plan in case it does. They have yet to reach an agreement with 5 labor unions representing nearly half of the LIRR workforce, including train engineers. The dispute centers around pay increases, longstanding work rules that the MTA says are outdated. So the unions, at least 5 of them, have rejected this proposed contract offering of 9.5% over 3 years. They want 16%, but the MTA doesn't seem to want to move.
These 5 labor organizations, who are amongst the highest paid in the nation, want 6.5% more than everyone else.
So the MTA announcing these contingency plans. Now, they're not great. Basically, what they're telling you to do is if you are an LIRR rider and there's any way that you can work from home if this strike takes place, you should do so. But they will have these buses that will leave at peak hours every 10 minutes from train stations that'll take you to subway stations in Queens.
I'm upset about it, but I'll probably work from home.
I rely on the LIRR to get here at downtown Brooklyn from Queens. If not, it would take me like 2 hours if I took the regular bus and subway. It's definitely going to be an awkward conversation with my supervisor about just accommodating for lateness.
Okay, so what they're telling us is the service that they will provide will be for essential workers who need to commute into the city in the morning, running into Manhattan from starting around 4:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then on the way home from 3 to 7 p.m. Shuttle buses will take you from LIRR stations to subway station transfer points in Queens.
In the event of a strike, we're encouraging all those who can work from home to do so.
We're going to issue prorated refunds to September monthly ticket holders for any business day that service was suspended.
Yes, so drivers could also drive into Queens, but that'll be awfully messy if this thing happens. You're talking about impact of 300,000 daily riders on the LIRR. So this would be a big deal. Of course, we'll continue to watch it. When you talk to some insiders at the MTA, they actually believe the workers might walk off the job. Of course, that would happen if it does, 12:01 a.m. Thursday morning. So make sure you're tuning into the news hour on Thursday morning. If that does happen, of course, keeping our fingers crossed that they can work this out. 5:05, students at a South Jersey college decompressing after a shooting near the campus there prompted a shelter in place.
Shots were fired just before 1 p.m. across the street from the campus of Stockton University in Galloway Township. That's near Atlantic City. Campus security responded by issuing the lockdown order. They got the all clear just after 4, making for 3 harrowing hours for staff and students aware of recent headlines. One person was injured in the shooting. There's been 1 arrest. Another suspect may be at large. The school defended its actions, even though it appears the shooting had nothing to do with the campus or its students. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New Jersey.
Police, FBI holding I wouldn't say a late-night news conference. It was about 9:30 last night in Utah, saying they don't really know where this gunman is who shot and killed Charlie Kirk at the university on Wednesday. They did release more pictures, more videos. You can see this gunman climbing down from the roof following the shooting. And so they have tons of video. They have tons of pictures, but can't find them.
So here's the still photographs I mentioned. These have been enhanced. So these are slightly different than what we introduced earlier. Please pay close attention to the T-shirt. Like I said, very distinctive with that American flag and that eagle. The hat with the triangle and the sunglasses. If you go to the next picture, please. The backpack as well. All identifying features that we're hoping the public can help us identify and lead us to this suspect. Next picture. And again, there's a better picture of the hat with that triangle logo, and again, the T-shirt. Blue jeans, and you get a good look at those Converse tennis shoes as well.
You have to think that people who know him recognize him and given the FBI information, but so far enough. WABC News Time 509. Let's go back to that press conference that happened last night with the FBI, police in Utah, as they detail what they know about the assassin who killed Charlie Kirk at Utah State University on Wednesday. Here's more from the press conference. Now, they did, we had heard this information yesterday, that there were political issues that were scrawled on this recovered rifle and ammunition. They did talk a little bit more about that last night.
For those people who are spending so much time on social media, I think Charlie said it best, that when things get bad, we should put our phones down and spend a little time with our families. There is a tremendous amount of disinformation. We are tracking our team, the state team, and I'm sure the federal team as well. What we're seeing is our adversaries want violence. China, we have bots from Russia, China, all over the world that are trying to instill disinformation and encourage violence. I would encourage you to ignore those, to turn off those streams, and spend a little more time with our families. We desperately need some healing. We'll have more to say about that in the days and weeks to come. More than anything, we are going to catch this person. Last thing I will just say is we've been working with our attorneys, getting everything that we need, affidavits ready, so that we can pursue the death penalty in this case, and that will happen here in the state of Utah.
President Trump talking about Charlie Kirk yesterday. His family awfully close with the 31-year-old.
What he did is disgraceful. Charlie Kirk was a great person, a great man, great in every way, especially with youth. What he did, what this man did, was disgraceful. So hopefully we'll have him and we will deal with him very appropriately. I think progress is being made. He's an animal, total animal. And hopefully they'll have him and they'll get him.
I will soon be awarding Charlie Kirk posthumously the Presidential Medal of Freedom. The date of the ceremony will be announced, and I can only guarantee you one thing, that we will have a very big crowd. Very, very big.
That was the president announcing that yesterday, 5/11. So Kirk was supposed to speak at the Truth and Liberty Conference at a Bible college in Woodland, Colorado, the day after the shooting took place. So pretty emotional there. He was the keynote speaker.
He helped millions of young Americans not only understand the truth, but he gave voice to the knowing that was inside of them.
I lost a friend. I lost a boss. Even though he's was 15 years younger than me. I lost a mentor in many ways.
That's the conference president.
This is a Christian martyr. This was as much of a martyr as when Stephen was stoned to death. Stephen, in the 7th chapter of the book of Acts, they can kill a messenger, but they can't kill the message. And it's going to spread more than it ever has. I believe that this is going to cause so many people that were on the sidelines to get off of the bench and get into the battle.
State Department warning that it may revoke the visas of foreigners who glorify violence after the shooting of Charlie Kirk.
On Thursday, Deputy Secretary of State Chris Landau said foreigners who glorify violence and hatred are not welcome visitors to our country. He added he was disgusted to see some on social media praising, rationalizing, or making light of the event. Landau said consular officials have been told to undertake appropriate action. Kirk was fatally shot Wednesday while holding a rally in Utah. The suspect remains at large. I'm Mark Mayfield.
And then you have these crazy threats against schools. This is all in the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk murder. Tensions high, really high yesterday on historically black colleges and universities across the nation after a day full of threats led to a bunch of campus lockdowns.
Classes at Alabama State University, Hampton University, Virginia State, Clark Atlanta University, Southern University, and Spelman, to name a few, were disrupted due to shelter-in-place orders. The FBI is investigating. The nature of the threats has not been revealed. Authorities were also called out Thursday to investigate what turned out to be nothing after a bomb threat was reported at the Democratic National Committee headquarters in Washington, D.C. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
Of course, we'll continue to follow the latest on this investigation into the Charlie Kirk assassination and the search for the gunman. And, of course, as new details come into us, we'll pass them on to you. 5:13 out to Long Island, where a woman is under arrest, accused of running over an elderly woman while carjacking her in a parking lot.
It happened outside the Walmart on Nescaucet Highway in Setauket around 1 p.m. Thursday. Suffolk police say an 84-year-old woman got out of her car to move a shopping cart. That's when they say Darian Heller jumped behind the wheel, shoved the woman to the ground, then ran her over, dragging her for a bit. No word on her condition. The 34-year-old Heller took off. Police caught up to the Holbrook resident in Center Reach and arrested her. She's charged with robbery, assault, drug possession, and more. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
President Trump was here in New York last night. He watched the Yankees take on the Tigers. He met with the Yankees in the clubhouse before the game last night.
So I just want to wish you guys a lot of luck. You're great players. I know every one of you.
He watched the Yankees-Tigers game in person with families of fallen 9/11 first responders. And yesterday, of course, which was the 24th anniversary of the attack. He took in the game with AG Pam Bondi and some other dignitaries. He predicted a Yankees win, and he got it.
And I will say you're going to win. George used to coach. For some reason, I don't know what it was, we won every time I came. Randy, is that right?
Yeah, and that worked last night, too. The home team came through, routing Detroit 9-3. I guess I'm stealing a headline from Justin Ellick, who's up right now at 5:15. Let's head over to the sports desk. All right, we had the Yankees score because the Yankees got good luck from President Trump last night. It was a good night for them, right?
Yeah, it was a great night for him. Big night for Aaron Judge as well. Hit 2 home runs to tie Hall of Famer outfielder, obviously, Joe DiMaggio for 4th place in Yankees history as New York beat the Tigers 9-3, averting a 3-game sweep on the 24th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. Like you mentioned, Noam, President Trump attended the game and watched from a suite on the third base side. The 2-time AL MVP and Judge had his 6th multi-homer game this season and pulled even with DiMaggio 2 nights after passing Hall of Fame catcher Yogi Berra for 5th on the franchise list. Here's what that moment sounded like, courtesy of the Yes Network.
High drive, left center field, Green back, track, wall, see ya! Another home run for Judge. He has tied Joe DiMaggio for 4th place on the Yankees all-time home run list and also picks up his 100th Ribby of the Year.
The Judge had 3 hits and ended the night with a Major League best .322 batting average, 3 points ahead of Athletics rookie shortstop Jacob Wilson. Giancarlo Stanton followed Judge's 2nd solo shot with his 449th homer, tying Hall of Famers Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and senior, I should say, and Jeff Bagwell for 41st on the career list. Including the postseason, it was the 56th time Judge and Stanton homered in the same game and 5th time this season. The Yankees are 49-7 when Judge and Stanton homer in the same game. Ben Rice hit an RBI double, and Jose Caballero, Austin Slater, Cody Bellinger, and Jazz Chisholm Jr. had run-scoring singles. The Yankees moved a half game ahead of Boston for the top AL wildcard, heading into a pivotal 3-game set at Fenway Park this weekend. So up next for the Yanks, still 3 games back of Toronto for first place in the division. Luis Gil will get the start in that opener tonight at Fenway. First pitch there, 7:10 p.m. In Philadelphia, the Mets lost again to the Phillies, this time 6-4 in the finale of a 4-game set, suffering the series sweep and falling 11 games back now of Philly in the division. Mets carried a 4-0 lead after a big first inning. Vientos, Nimmo, and Marte all contributed RBIs early on, but Philly starter Jesus Luzardo gave up those runs settled in and retired the next 22 batters he faced, finishing with 10 strikeouts over 8 innings. Mets bullpen couldn't hold on, and with the loss, New York's wildcard lead for the final spot in the NL shrank to just a game and a half over Cincinnati and San Francisco, and their 6-game losing streak continued. Up next for the Mets, they'll remain at home for the weekend, getting set to welcome in the Texas Rangers for a 3-game interleague weekend set. The rookie Jonah Tong will get the start in what will be a 7:10 p.m. first pitch from Queens. And we're looking ahead to Week 2 action in the NFL. Quick recap of last night's Thursday Night Football action out in Green Bay. The Packers prevailing over the Washington Commanders 27-18 in that Love versus Daniels duel. And looking ahead to Sunday, the early afternoon slate, both of your local squads will get their Week 2 contests underway. The 0-1 Giants are at the 0-1 Cowboys in Dallas. Cowboys there, 5.5-point home favorites. And as for the Jets, they will welcome in the division rival Buffalo Bills as 6.5-point home underdogs in that one. That is your sports. No, man, I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 520. Of course, yesterday, New York City marking the 24th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks with the annual ceremony in Lower Manhattan. Many who spoke at the ceremony yesterday, they weren't even born on that fateful day, but everybody who spoke at the reading of the names in Lower Manhattan said they vowed to never forget, of course.
And my uncle Bart Joseph Ruggieri. Although we've never had a chance to meet, I have the privilege of getting to know you through our family.
Never had a chance to meet my Aunt Lorraine in this life, but I'm proud to carry her name.
Ceremony came ahead of the annual tribute in light that illuminates where the Twin Towers once stood. I took a gander at that this morning when I woke up.
All is good down here. We love you, and most importantly, we will never forget.
Former New York City mayors Mike Bloomberg, Rudy Giuliani, they were in attendance at the ceremonies last night, along with Governor Hochul, Senator Schumer. 9/11 families say it's not about politicians, though.
What hurts my heart is when politicians come here for a photo op, and it's sacred, and they come here just to take pictures and get video showing that they're here, and they're not really showing their respect. Some do.
Now, what's not surprising is those crowds downtown have dwindled over the years.
On the big dates, the 10-year, the 15-year, the 20-year, there's more crowds, there's more press, there's more stories. On the non-significant years, so to speak, there's less, and I would love to change that because it should be in people's hearts and minds every year and every day.
Now, Diane was there yesterday holding a picture of Michael.
Yeah, my husband. I know everyone thinks now it's my son because all the years went by, but yeah, he worked for Ken Fitzgerald.
I was on the 29th floor of the North Tower, Tower 1, the tower that was hit first and went down second.
I remember being in the pile the day of the attacks. Spent 6 months in here.
My godfather and uncle, Richard Gabriel, and I was a volunteer with Red Cross, and I was exposed to toxins, but I had to have a sense of purpose when I was here. It was so tragic.
I'm a retired New York City firefighter, so I retraced my footsteps from that day.
Yeah, so they expect a big crowd. Of course, next year will be 25, and as they said, those crowds usually swell on those big number years like 25, which it'll be next year. It's hard to imagine it's already 25. 522 out to Colorado. Investigators continue to comb through evidence at Evergreen High School there following a shooting Wednesday that left 2 students critically injured. The teenage gunman Deddy shot himself after he shot his fellow students. A sheriff's office spokesperson says the crime scene is large because there were many rounds fired inside the school.
I have to believe when you bring a gun to school and you continue to fire and reload and fire and reload that you are on a mission. And we are grateful that he was less successful, but we're devastated that he was successful at all.
Sheriff's office identifying the gunman as 16-year-old Desmond Holley, and they say they believe he had been radicalized by some type of extremist network. They said he had anti-Semitic views. The school, Evergreen High, closed for the rest of the week.
The suspect brought quite a bit of ammunition with him, and he continued to reload.
I think we're very, very grateful that there were not more injuries. He came up against a roadblock on many of those doors. He couldn't get to those kids. So there's not enough to be said for the work that the teachers, the coaches, the staff, the students, lots of kids ran, but the ones who didn't were locked down and they were being cared for.
Yeah, thank God, and let's hope those two who were shot recover quickly. 5:23, hundreds of workers who were detained in an immigration raid at a Hyundai warehouse in Georgia. They were set to fly back to South Korea yesterday, and I'm assuming they did, but I have not seen any footage of it. Correspondent Janice Mackey-Freyer reports the South Korean government, they sent a plane in to bring these workers back.
The workers were taken by bus from the detention facility to the airport. No handcuffs, no chains. That was the deal that South Korean officials made with the White House and with President Trump.
The deal will allow the skilled workers to return to the U.S. some point in the future. South Korea's president says because of the incident, some South Korean companies are now hesitant to invest in the U.S.
They wanted to be able to bring these workers back home. But President Trump stepped in and wanted to look at ways to keep these skilled workers in the U.S. They're building a facility, they're training Americans, and they're creating American jobs. South Korean officials say the deal is the workers will be allowed to go back to finish their work, but right now they're exhausted and they're in shock. There will be political and potential economic fallout from this.
5:25, let's go out to Chicago. It seems to be a waiting game at this point to see if President Trump sends the National Guard to Chicago. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says he's glad the president appears to be rethinking the idea of sending in federal troops, but he's not convinced that it won't happen.
Maybe he read something in the newspaper and he'll send troops to Portland or perhaps to New Orleans or perhaps to Chicago. And so I'm always glad to know he's not sending them to Chicago. We don't need them. There is not an emergency.
Chicago's Mayor Brandon Johnson says he hasn't been in the loop with communications with the Trump administration.
Nothing has been communicated with us, and that's what the problem has been. If this president was serious, he would work to coordinate with our local police department to get illegal guns off the streets of Chicago. That could actually help save lives.
Now, there are a lot of ICE agents in town. The Department of Homeland Security has launched an immigration crackdown this week in Chicago and across the state of Illinois.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam.
On 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Friday, September 12th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Sunshine today. Just a beautiful day on the way. High 77. And the weekend, it looks pretty good too. Saturday, sun and clouds, a little humidity, high 79. And then Sunday, mostly sunny, high 81. If you are walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are. 62 clear in Yonkers up in Westchester County. 56 clear in Hamilton over in New Jersey. And it's 60 and clear right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time 5:39. The MTA worried about next Thursday and the LIRR. Will those workers walk off the job? Train engineers in a dispute with the MTA over salary. The unions have rejected a proposed contract that would offer them a 9.5% raise over 3 years. Apparently they want 16%, so they're pretty far apart on this deal. And so the union says that they would walk off the job if there is no deal at 12:01 a.m. on Thursday morning.
These 5 labor organizations, who are amongst the highest paid in the nation, want 6.5% more than everyone else.
That's the head of the LIRR, the MTA, announcing contingency plans for commuters, and none of them are great. I mean, the minute you lose a train and try to get a bus or a car into the city, it's not going to be great.
I'm upset about it, but I'll probably work from home.
I rely on the LIRR to get here at downtown Brooklyn from Queens. If not, it would take me like 2 hours if I took the regular bus and subway. It's definitely going to be an awkward conversation with my supervisor about just accommodating for lateness.
Now, what the LIRR is telling us that the service they will offer will be for essential workers who need to commute into the city in the morning. So they'll run buses from 4:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then back home from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. The shuttle buses will take riders from LIRR stations to subway station transfer points in Queens.
In the event of a strike, we're encouraging all those who can work from home to do so.
We're going to issue prorated refunds to September monthly ticket holders for any business day that service was suspended.
Yeah, so it's going to be horrendous if it happens. Nassau County telling their commuters to take the NICE buses that connect with the number 7 subway line, Jamaica Bus Terminal in Queens, as a travel alternative. But the contingency plan won't help most of the riders. Almost 300,000 people, biggest commuter railroad in the nation. Almost 300,000 people ride the LIRR every day. Of course, we'll be all over this if it does happen. And make sure you tune in Thursday morning. Joe will have whatever alternative routes there are around the train service into the city. So make sure you're here on Thursday morning. But we'll keep our fingers crossed in the meantime for the two sides, the union, the MTA, can come together and get a deal done before then. While we're out on Long Island, Suffolk County Police giving us more details about this man who stabbed his mother to death in their Brentwood home earlier this week. Officers racing to this home on White Street on Tuesday night after receiving a 911 call. Investigators identifying the victim as 59-year-old Melidia Velasquez. They discovered her body inside the home, stab wounds. Detectives have now charged her son. They did so, I should say, detectives charged their son, and then their son was in court yesterday. His name is Jason, charged with murder in the second degree. At his arraignment yesterday, he entered a plea of not guilty. The prosecutor says, though, they have a treasure trove of evidence that suggests he did do it. And what was interesting is at this hearing yesterday, some neighbors showed up who knew both of them, and they're just completely shocked by this crime. They said they didn't know the son to be violent. They knew him to be a nice guy, and the mother to be a wonderful mom.
She was the nicest woman you ever want to meet, but he was also a nice kid.
The defendant's attorney is Peter Mayer, and he says, don't assume that he's guilty.
He's presumed innocent. He entered his denial of the charges. That says that he is not accepting responsibility because, as of right now, he is innocent, and I want everybody to remember that.
Okay, so, and back to the neighbors who say they just don't get it. The son, the mom seem to get along. The son and mom had visited neighbors, and they had visited them numerous times.
Great people, very nice people. Always nice to my daughter. My daughter spent days in their house. He spent days in my house. They were just good people. Now, what went wrong and when it went wrong, I have no idea.
Now we'll wait for this case to go to trial. 5:43. Let's bring it back here into the city. Water service restored in northern Manhattan, where thousands have been without after a large water main break on Wednesday night.
The 20-inch main failed around 11:30 p.m. Wednesday in Inwood at Dykeman and Nagel. It took about 12 hours for crews to stop the main. That caused flooding on the streets and in basements. Water service returned thanks to a temporary fix around 4 p.m. They'll work on a permanent solution in the weeks to come. Impacted residents are encouraged to run the water until it flows clear before using it. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
Nadine Menendez, of course, she was the wife of Senator Rob Menendez, who's behind bars. She trashed her husband yesterday at her sentencing. She claimed that Senator Menendez strung her along like a puppet and that he's not the man that she thought he was. But then, so she said that in court as they were sentencing her. And then when she got outside of court, she said this.
No, I do not plan on divorcing him.
Yeah, so she's stringing him like a puppet. She blames him for the bribery scandal. By the way, prosecutors say, no. She knew what was going on. She was in on the bribes. So Nadine is going to go away for 4.5 years. Bob started an 11-year sentence last summer in connection with this joint bribery scheme that involved hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash and gold bars and a Mercedes-Benz. Now, she has until, Nadine has until next July to report for prison because she is battling breast cancer. They're going to give her some time to work that out. Here's a New York Post reporter who wrote a book about this case. She was at this sentencing yesterday.
Here she is throwing her husband under the bus after he threw her under the bus for the first trial. And I think that she partly followed what Bob told her to do, but I think she also instigated a lot of it.
Yeah, cry me a river for Nadine Menendez. It sounds like she's getting what she deserved. 5:45. Let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk, and here's Justin Allen.
Well, it's about time. Been sitting here waiting for like ever.
Wait. You don't want to have that conversation because I can't even tell you how many times I'm sitting here at 5:44 and I'm like, do I go to another story? And you're not in the studio yet.
You always have that other story ready to go, though.
Normally. I do, but then I get mad because it's 5:45 and you're not in there. So then I'm like, I'm going to do a 4-minute story.
You get mad at me?
Yes.
Like really mad?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry.
But I do have that moment of like, he's not in there. What do I do?
What do
I
do?
egged him on, too, to do that.
Yeah. Louis like, well, say something, goddamn.
Yeah, just get to me anytime, no.
Yeah, whatever.
Right. I mean, there is something, like, imagine if I showed up to do the news hour at 5:01.
Right.
What would Lou do? That'd be a solid minute he'd have to fill.
I'd be panicking.
Right. So imagine me at 5:14 or 5:44. You're supposed to be in there, and you're not.
See what you started? You did it.
I'm very busy. Okay? A lot on my plate. All right?
But look at that. All this time I've never said anything, but you started it. So
you're right.
Now I did.
All right. Can I retract everything I did, everything I said?
You can.
All right, fine. I'll bring it up again very shortly, I'm sure.
Yeah. Because you're dumb and you'll do it.
Yeah, exactly. Out in the
but
Bronx.
Lou, I'm not wrong, am I?
No, you're not wrong.
Okay.
That's why I egged him on, because I knew you would pounce right back at him.
Yeah.
I knew it. And then Noam has his artillery.
He's got his gun up. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, come on. He's ready.
All right. Well, I'm sorry for stepping on his toes. Right. My God. We'll start out here in the Bronx. Aaron Judge hit 2 home runs. Tie Hall of Fame outfielder Joe DiMaggio for 4th place in Yankees history as the Yankees beat the Tigers 9-3, averting a 3-game sweep. The Yankees moved a half game ahead of Boston for the top American League wildcard, heading into a pivotal 3-game series at Fenway Park this weekend. Up next for those Yanks, still 3 games back of Toronto for first place in the division. Luis Gil will get the start in tonight's opener of that big 3-game weekend set in Boston. First pitch from Fenway Park scheduled for 7:10. In Philadelphia, the Mets lost again to the Phillies, this time 6-4 in the finale of a 4-game set, suffering the series sweep and falling 11 games back now of Philly in the division. With the loss, New York's wildcard lead for the final spot of the NL shrank to just a game and a half over Cincinnati and San Francisco, and their 6-game losing streak did continue. Up next for the Mets, they'll remain at home for the weekend, getting set to welcome in the Texas Rangers for a 3-game interleague weekend series. The rookie Jonah Tong will get the start in what will be a 7:10 p.m. first pitch from Queens. Check in on the gridiron here. Week 2 got underway last night with Thursday night football out in Green Bay. The Packers beat the Commanders 27-18. Love over Daniels there. And Sunday, early afternoon slate, both your local squads will get their Week 2 contests underway. The 0-1 Giants are at the 0-1 Cowboys. Cowboys there 5.5-point home favorites. And the Jets at 1 p.m. on Sunday will welcome in the division rival Buffalo Bills as 6.5-point home underdogs in that one. That is your sports. Noam, and I'm Justin Alec on 77 WABC.
Thank you very much, Justin. I think, anyway. The traffic, transit now. Here's Jill Noah.
Jeez, about time. Jeez.
You're never late. See, I go to you, you're always there. I've never had an experience where you're not there.
No, that's not true either.
Oh, really? There's been a time where you haven't been there?
Times, yeah,
a couple, but we've been working together for a while now. So.
Long time. Yeah, long time. Anyway, I just thought I'd pile on.
WABC News Time 5:50. For politicians, 9/11 is usually the day where politicking ceases. Of course, it's all about the commemoration of the 9/11 attacks. Yesterday, at the ceremonies downtown, though, there were a lot of politicians. Mayor Adams was there, and Cuomo, Zohran Mamdani. They all attended the 9/11 ceremonies in Lower Manhattan. Curtis Lewa was at a different event out in Queens, a 9/11 event. In a rare break, though, with tradition, and I can't remember this happening before, but maybe it has. A relative of a firefighter that was killed on 9/11 was up there doing the reading of the names, and then he went off the script a little bit to talk politics, which normally doesn't happen at this event.
When political candidates and public officials refuse to condemn global terror and phrases such as globalize the intifada, they are inviting another 9/11, God forbid. And they continue to bring daily fear for all New Yorkers.
Now, you can hear the applause that he got after saying that. And, of course, he was talking about Zohran Mamdani. It wasn't done yet. He continued. Here's more.
We need all political candidates, including every single potential future mayor, and you know who I'm talking about, of this great city, to speak out against terror and unite as freedom-loving New Yorkers.
Now, Mamdani did not hear that. Maybe he did afterwards. He had already left the ceremonies. His campaign did not return a request for comment. Meanwhile, New Yorkers, when they do hit the polls in November, Jim Walden's name will still be on the ballot alongside the other candidates in the race. And he dropped out almost 3 weeks ago. Walden was running as an independent, but last week he announced, it was 2 weeks ago, he was suspending his campaign. But the City Board of Elections, however, said Walden missed the deadline to apply to have his name removed from the ballot. So Walden filed a petition to try to fight that decision. He doesn't want his name on the ballot. He wants all the votes possible to go to some candidate who will beat Zohran Mamdani. But yesterday, a judge ruled against him, so Jim Walden's name will still be on the ballot come November. Meanwhile, the campaigns are not publicly talking about the Charlie Kirk assassination in relation to them, but you do have people around them saying that maybe they should amp up security around their campaigns in the aftermath of that assassination of Charlie Kirk. Christopher Malone is an associate professor at Farmingdale State College, and he says the candidates who are running for mayor do have protection, but he says maybe they should get Secret Service protection.
Unlike a presidential candidate, mayoral candidates don't have Secret Service. They will have NYPD around them, certainly, and I'm sure the NYPD will make sure that rallies and political campaign events will have more heightened security.
Yeah, of course, the security heightened after that assassination.
I'm begging you.
What's that?
We don't do that. We don't shoot Democrats. I know you go back to Gabrielle Giffords and some of these idiots are like, what do you mean? Look at Gabrielle Giffords. There were 2 or 3 old cases. But we don't do that. We don't shoot Democrats. They don't need any security. We need security. Republicans in this country, we need security.
Well, one
not
of the candidates
Democrats.
is a Republican.
Who's that?
One of the candidates is a Republican.
Who's that?
Curtis Lewa.
He's got his own security.
Right.
They're called the Guardian Angels.
Yeah. Well,
and he's not a staunch Republican by any stretch. He's not MAGA. MAGA people are the ones, like me, quite frankly, who need security.
Well, retired NYPD Detective Phil Grimaldi disagrees with you. He says
cares that he disagrees with? I don't know who he is.
That the campaigns do need heightened security now in the aftermath of Kirk.
You can now use magnetometers. You can use.
I'm begging you to shut up.
Whose show is this again?
Shut up. You two shut up now.
Is it called the News Hour? With,
you're going to pull a Dominic Carter on me now? Are you going to pull a Dominic Carter? Your ego is out of control,
isn't it?
Cover all of those rules.
You know nothing about politics.
Secure those roofs.
Okay. Newark police searching for the man who sucker punched another man over a parking spot in Newark and broke his jaw. Police say it happened Mount Prospect Avenue about 4 in the afternoon. Jose Cabrera is the brother of the victim. He's the one telling us the story.
The guy wanted his parking spot. He said, I'm already parked here. So the guy got aggressive. So my little brother parked across the street. Well, he came this way. The guy got out of his car, and while he was here, he hit him from behind and broke his jaw.
Yeah, so police say the driver of a black Charger was upset after 37-year-old Angelo Legardo parked his car, demanded the on-street parking spot. You've seen these fights before. Legardo ignored him and then just walked across the street to head to his mother's apartment. That's when they got into this dispute, and Legardo was punched in the face repeatedly.
He's a cool guy. He wouldn't hurt a fly. He was coming home from work. He had a big backpack on. He had a bag full of eggs that he was going to give her. You know, he came home to give her some eggs so he could eat something, and this happens over a parking spot.
Yeah, so Legardo's jaw broken in 2 places, stable condition. He's in the hospital. Here's his mom, who says he's the most gentle guy you'd ever want to meet.
I cry all the time not to see him. I cry. I can't see him like that. He don't do nothing bad, nothing. He works from works to my house.
Yeah, when we checked in with police, they say they're still working to try find evidence to find this attacker. They don't, at this point, know who he is. And we'll end in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, where neighbors say they've been overwhelmed by a noticeable stench that's lingering for 5 years now. They claim it's a mix of gasoline and burning debris that's been drifting through the area, apparently coming from the green asphalt plant in Long Island City. The plant's passing odors and occasional fumes have been raising concerns among parents who play in a nearby park.
It smells exactly like burning rubber and burning asphalt. It's in the neighborhood, and it's in the park, most importantly, where we all are.
Children are growing up here. Their lungs are developing in this neighborhood. They deserve to have access to clean air. They deserve to grow up without repercussions on their health.
Now, Green Asphalt telling us that its mission is to produce environmentally friendly asphalt that reduces greenhouse gas emissions, but locals, they don't buy this.
I really personally hope that they meet their deadline of doubling the size of their smokestack. We just want to hold them accountable.
Yeah, they say that might help, but in the meantime, there's going to be a town hall. It's scheduled for next week, the 16th, 6:30 p.m. at the Polish and Slavic Center to hold this group, the Green Asphalt, accountable.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?
With Robinhood, not only can you trade individual stocks and ETFs, you can also seamlessly buy and sell crypto at low costs. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.